In April of this year, it became known that Tay-K, the artist behind the hit The Race, was sentenced by the court to 80 years in prison. This artist and his main hit were widely known in the late 2010s, but he spent the last few years of his life under investigation because he committed a terrible crime.
I did the race, beat it up, where I nut shorty face.
He was found guilty of murdering photographer Mark Saldivar in the year 2017. Some internet users, as well as fans of the artist, believe the sentence is too harsh, considering that at the time the crimes were committed, the artist was a minor. Before the verdict, he was already serving a 55-year sentence for the murder of another person, which occurred in 2016. He was given a second sentence of 80 years, but they do not add up. They will be served concurrently. Even at the beginning of April, it was already clear that the artist would not get off lightly. His former girlfriend Joanna made a deal with the investigation. She said she was the driver of the car from which the rapper killed a passing photographer in 2017. Joanna gave a detailed description of that day, when Tay-K shot a man who was trying to run away from him.
Really quickly. And then Mark kicked the windshield and Tay-K opened the door and shot him.
It is worth noting that Taik had previously been seen in prison with a scar on his neck. Many believe that the artist had attempted to take his own life while incarcerated since he understands what it means to spend the rest of his life behind bars. He himself insists there is nothing shocking about the presence of the scar.
October 10th. All right, thank you.
Thank
what
you,
happened to your neck?
Oh, incident.
Do you guys need that
It's
address?
like an issue, yeah.
Do y'all need that address with the deputy or anything?
No, ma'am. It's years old.
The story of Taik is a sad reminder that a criminal lifestyle often ruins the lives of teenagers. Not only their lives, but also the lives of those who become innocent victims of shootouts, conflicts, and other criminal acts. In this video, we will try to figure out who Tay-K was before he ended up in prison, and how it happened that the artist will spend the rest of his days behind bars. Well, let's get started. In early December 2017, the publication The Fader, based on streaming numbers and critic preferences, recognized The Race by American rapper Tay-K as the best song of 2017. He was only 17 years old at the time, and reaching the top of a genre-specific rating would be considered a success, if not for one thing. At the time the rating was compiled, Taymor Travon McIntyre was facing the death penalty. As you now know, he has been sentenced to 80 years, which in essence means the same thing. In the postscript to the list of best tracks, critics from The Fader noted that they intentionally did not mention some artists, since generating clicks for their work amounts to complicity in their crimes. But that didn't stop them from choosing Tay-K as the best. The video for his track, The Race, was viewed 252 million times. The video was released on July 1st, 2017, and on the same day the rapper was detained. By that time he had been on the run from justice for 3 months, and the clip is precisely about that. In The Race, the artist poses next to wanted posters of himself, plays with firearms, and completely blurs the line between reality and art, turning his life into a work of art. "I tried to beat the case, but I ain't beat the case, I did the race," raps then 16-year-old McIntyre, who was known in Texas as Tay-K-47, named after the Russian Kalashnikov rifle. Tay-K was born on July 16, 2000, in California. Both his mother and father were Crips, members of the large African-American criminal gang known as the Crips. Rappers like Snoop Dogg and Eazy-E were once part of this gang. McIntyre's father spent most of his childhood in prison, and when he was released, the family moved to Arlington, Texas. That's where Tay-K's rapid career began. Taymor didn't do well in school, predictably. He was even expelled from middle school. But he met his peer Jalen Bell, who took the alias Pimpy Zed, and Eric Johnson, who was 3 years older and became known as Santana Sage. All three are currently facing murder charges. Johnson, who served in the Marine Corps before his arrest, was sentenced to 44 years in prison, and Bell is awaiting trial. Here's what Tay-K's mom said after her son's musical success.
You just heard it on the radio?
Look, I heard it. So I heard it on the radio. Yes.
Wow. How did you feel?
Nigga, I was proud. I was proud.
Wow, that's
I was
emotional.
like, for real. Because when he was going through, when he was saying he was going to rap and writing songs, because he used to steal my laptop or whatever.
Tay-K, Pimpys, and Santana Sage formed the rap group Daytona Boys. The group recorded and uploaded their first track at the end of 2014, when Tay-K was only 14 years old. The guys quickly gained some local fame. Shortly after their debut, McIntyre tried to reach out to host Sean Cotton, writing to him that Daytona Boys had tens of thousands of plays online and were respected by other Texas hip-hop artists such as 6C and Crip Life.
Creeping around this block like I am so
There are even videos online where McIntyre's group can be seen performing, for example, in Dallas.
That nigga Aaron, he cool. I just met that nigga like last week.
Not about Aaron right now, bro.
Man, all my niggas, man, we used to be getting geeked all the time, man. Fuck all that other shit, man. Fuck all these other niggas, man. We gonna be on top, nigga, really, and shit.
Throw the H up,
Me and my niggas.
Throw it up. There you go. Y'all see that shit.
Less than a year later, Daytona Boys began to get invited to events. At the end of 2015, the trio was invited to perform at a New Year's Eve party in Denton. Unfortunately, 20-year-old student Sarah Muchlechner also attended the same party. She did not live to see 2016. There is a video recording of Daytona Boys performing at that ill-fated party. All the guests look happy and carefree. Many are hugging and singing in unison. The newly minted rappers didn't stay until morning and got into a car around 2 o'clock in the morning. Eric Johnson, after popping some pills, jumped behind the wheel of a Jeep. Muchlechner and her 3 friends left around the same time, and at one of the traffic lights the 2 cars lined up. What happened next is still unclear, but Sarah was shot in the head and her car crashed into a pole. Santana Sage claimed that one of Sarah's friends had threatened him with a gun, and the defense argued that the shot was fired accidentally. Friends of the deceased girl said that Johnson and his crew pulled up next to their car, asked them to roll down the window, made lewd comments, and after being rejected began to chase Sarah's vehicle. At the time of the shooting, Tay-K was in the back seat. Police could not decide for a long time whether to charge him like Pimpies as an accomplice or release him. In the end, he managed to avoid charges. There is an interview online with Sarah's parents, recorded sometime after her death.
Go to sleep. All I could think about was her and this just horrible thing that happened to her. She did not deserve this.
But they say Sarah would want them to smile. Hers was infectious.
She's never met a stranger. She was always nice to people. She would talk with them.
Just like her grandpa Bloss.
And no matter what, think of what they had, not what they lost.
We're all going to miss her. And some people don't get to have their kids 20 years, so we have to be blessed with what we've had with her, time spent.
The 20-year-old was a junior at the University of North Texas, where she studied radio, television, and film.
She wanted to one day be a director, a producer. She loved film.
But perhaps her greatest act comes after her sudden death, donating her organs, a cause.
It seemed that fate had given McIntyre a second chance, and he even seemed to take it. In March 2016, he released the solo track Mega Man.
Niggas quick to change, y'all so Bruce Wayne, if he act mysterious.
But just 4 months later, he returned to the criminal world. As soon as he turned 16, he participated in the robbery and murder of 21-year-old Ethan Walker. 7 people were arrested in that case, 4 guys, not counting Tay-K, and 2 girls who acted as bait. Megan Holt and Ariana Barre were supposed to seduce Walker, get into his house, and let in the robbers who would threaten him with weapons and steal money and substances. At first, everything was going as planned, but in the end, the plan fell apart. Ethan Walker was killed and 2 others were injured. McIntyre was placed under house arrest. A judge had to decide whether to try him as an adult. A charge of capital murder could mean the death penalty, or as a juvenile. Tay-K didn't wait for the decision. A few days before the verdict, he cut off his electronic ankle monitor and, along with another suspect, fled federal custody in San Antonio. "Fuck this house arrest, fuck the police, they're gonna have to catch me in the hood," the rapper wrote on Twitter. The girls involved in the incident began cooperating with the investigation and testified against their accomplices in hopes of reducing their sentences. Nevertheless, one received 25 years in prison and the other 30. One of the robbers, named Lotharian Merritt, was sentenced to life in prison. Investigators proved he was the one who pulled the trigger. 2 other young men, Sean Robinson and Jalen Bell, pleaded guilty to aggravated robbery. They are awaiting trial and sentencing. What about Tay-K himself? The artist also pleaded guilty to 2 counts of aggravated robbery. The prosecution has a different view. According to them, Tay-K was enthusiastic about the idea of the murder and knew he would be armed during the robbery. Prosecutors also state that the perpetrators brought 2 shotguns and a set of brass knuckles to the house. McIntyre's accomplice was soon caught, but the rapper escaped again after committing another murder and assaulting a senior citizen. First, in April, 23-year-old Mark Anthony Saldivar, who was driving around San Antonio with Taik and several acquaintances, was run over and then shot. After an argument, Mark tried to get out of the car and call for help, but the driver ran him over, and one of the passengers finished him off with a shot. Traffic surveillance cameras captured the rapper at the crime scene. A month later, McIntyre attacked 65-year-old Skip Peep in one of Arlington's parks, threatened him with a weapon, and beat him unconscious. The injured senior identified him from a photo.
A 65-year-old man is out of the hospital and recovering at home tonight after being robbed and beaten in an Arlington park.
Skip Pepe says he was walking in Cravens Park 2 weeks ago in the middle of the day when a young man pulled a gun on him. Pepe says the man quickly turned violent. Police are still looking for the suspect.
Hand me your wallet. You know, the second time it was, I have a gun, hand me your wallet.
65-year-old Skip Pepe was on this walking trail in Cravens Park 2 Thursdays ago, broad daylight. At first, he thought the young man with the gun was joking.
I looked at him and I says, get the hell out of here.
It happened just feet from houses, just a few yards from cars passing on Silo Road.
And I was trying to make my way, not running, but, you know, walking real fast. And I'm waving him, trying to wave him down and say, you know, stop, stop, I'm being robbed, help me, help me. And that's the last thing I remember.
However, the rapper never admitted guilt in this assault.
I have one thing to say. I did not never rob no old nigga at no park, boy.
After all this, McIntyre headed to New Jersey, where the legendary video for the race was filmed. In the song, the rapper remembers his homie Pimpies, says, "It's better not to mess with him," and describes his weapon, "I shoot, no talking, I shoot, it's written on my face," he raps.
I was trying to beat a case, but I ain't beat that case, bitch, I did the race.
The video appeared online with the hashtag #FreeTay-K. The track debuted at number 70 on the Billboard Hot 100, then climbed into the top 50. On SoundCloud, the song became the second most played, and on Spotify it nearly topped the 50 most necessary tracks chart. Dozens of major artists, from Lil Whitey to Fetty Wap, recorded remixes of the song.
Think you hard, you get robbed for your chains. Niggas, that's my chains, that's a man down, mate.
At the time of the crime, the artist was a minor. That helped him avoid the death penalty. What crimes in the United States can lead to the death penalty? It depends on the laws of a specific state. In some states, the death penalty doesn't exist at all. Most often, capital punishment is reserved for aggravated murder. These aggravating factors include extreme cruelty, prior convictions for gun, drug, or violent crimes, and killing a government employee or police officer. There are 16 total factors. A jury or judge must determine that at least one is present before the death penalty can be considered. Whether the sentence is death or life in prison depends on the case details, the nature of the crimes, and the aggravating factors. In Tay-K's case, the death penalty was also possible because of the murder-robbery charge, for robbery is an aggravating factor. Also, he was being tried in Texas, a state that leads the modern history of the United States in death penalty executions. It seems his age really did save him here, since 2005 minors can no longer be sentenced to death in the United States. Here is the final verdict that appeared this year.
We, the jury, find the defendant, Tamar McIntyre, not guilty of the offense of capital murder. What did I, excuse me, no. No, out of the courtroom. Out of the courtroom now. Yes. All right, ladies and gentlemen, you don't ignore that. Sometimes, as you can tell, people are invested, correct? So it says, we, the jury, find the defendant, Tamar McIntyre, not guilty of the offense of capital murder as charged in the indictment. We, the jury, find the defendant, Tamar McIntyre, guilty of the lesser included offense of murder. Does anyone wish to have the jury polled?
Not the State, Your Honor. Yes, Your Honor.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, and do you want them polled as to both counts?
As to the count of conviction, Your Honor.
All right, you may be seated. And I do know that these offenses occurred when you were very young. And I understand the state of the law, what people consider an adult. I listened to the testimony of the expert that was brought by defense counsel. You've already been sentenced to murder in the other county, and then you have a murder here. And the sentence for 55 years, that's a stiff sentence. This 80-year sentence is a stiff sentence.
At the start of the legal process, the artist had a rather positive outlook. He even gave interviews. He was confident he'd soon be released and could buy gold chains for his crew, as he had become very wealthy while in jail.
Nigga finna get the straight rugrat chains on my mama.
That's another thing I was thinking on. Jesus Christ, I'm like, these chains, nigga finna get some.
Hey, I'm finna get them hoes. I'm finna get like 20 of them hoes, and I'm finna get like 5 of them to blast. He can give them to whoever. I'm finna give all y'all niggas one. I'm finna give everybody. You know, I'm finna on grip nigga finna have a rug rat chains on hood.
I'm ready for you to be home, bro. This shit. I miss you, bro. I love you, bro. You know how to fucking
Yeah,
work.
love you too, B. Miss you too, nigga. Hey, y'all niggas keep this shit together, bro. I'm finna be out soon on game, nigga.
In 2018, he also gave an interview to No Jumper, where he sounded quite upbeat as well. That now seems to have changed.
Street's even seen it. Like, I've seen it, a few other people seen it, but that's crazy. You saw it before them.
Yeah, that hoe go hard, man. Look forward to that. This shit go hard in the bitch.
Yeah.
Hard.
So do you think, is there anything that comes to mind in terms of songs of yours that you recorded that are still out there that haven't been released to the world, or you think everything's out there already?
Yeah, I got, hell no. I got a couple shit. I got a lot of shit I ain't released. I got some shit I wrote in here that go hard in the bitch, so I got music that's harder than any of my other music. So yeah.
Oh, that's crazy. So,
hopefully I get out.
so you've been writing in there?
Hell yeah.
What kind of, you write a lot, or like do you find it hard to find inspiration when you're in that circumstance?
Nah, this is the inspiration. I find a lot of inspiration in here.
Oh, okay. Man, yeah, because like the more and more I listen to like the music that you do have out, it's just more and more obvious to me that you're like a really gifted rapper. Like you have a real way of saying things that people really relate to and connect to.
Nah, that shit that I got out ain't got none of the shit that I be writing in here.
One of the most famous Texas rappers, Travis Scott, supported Tamor by quoting a line from the race on his Twitter. His release was demanded on social media by Lil Bibby. The hashtag was used by Meek Mill, Designer, and Kodak Black. Critics praised the stunning realism of his lyrics and raw delivery, lamenting the loss of his talent. On the day the race was released, McIntyre was caught and locked up. He was tried as an adult, and the 17-year-old rapper faced the possibility of a death sentence, but the case was postponed indefinitely due to insufficient evidence. According to his lawyer, Tay-K remained optimistic and even promised to quit robbing if he was released. He later dropped his first solo album, Santana World, right from jail.
I was cruising down the street, 4 deep, 3 bitches, 1.
While under investigation, the artist signed with the label 80 Weight Classic. Little is known about it online. It is affiliated with the major label Radio Corporation of America. At the end of 2017, Tay-K re-released Santana World. In the new version, The Race featured verses by 21 Savage and Young Nudy. According to media reports, his contract with 80 Weight Classic earned him around $500,000.
I'm Lil Tay-K, I don't think you want no action. You want action, you get turned.
Tay-K's sister often comments on the trial of her brother. Here's what she wrote on social media in 2020. Quote, "Let's talk about how unfair the justice system is. How at such young ages they throw away our brothers, sons, nephews, grandsons every day. At ages like 15 to 20, our brains are not even fully developed. Our decision making is not where it needs to be, which is why we make so many mistakes when we're young. Just think. If you hadn't been caught or didn't face legal consequences for half the things you did as a teen, I think instead of labeling our sons and brothers as dangerous or from the ghetto or worthless, there should be some form of rehabilitation. The world traps our youth in such a vicious cycle. It's not fair. My brother shouldn't have gotten over 30 years for a crime committed at age 15. He didn't commit any violent actions. He didn't harm anyone. The outcome wasn't intentional. He didn't go into this thinking a life would be taken, rationally or not. Science proves our decision-making is underdeveloped. It all ends with our boys dead or in jail or killed by police. White youth don't go through this I just said something stuff." And here's another quote from her. "Let's talk about facts. The media played a huge role in spreading false information about Tamor in his case. The monster the media created is not who Tamor is. The media portrayed him as a killer, which undermines the fact that he did not pull the trigger and did not kill anyone. Tamor is a teenager with a story much deeper than what's been shown. These are facts about this case. The media knows nothing about innocent Tamor. This system crashed down on Tamor, and we can't just let it keep happening. We've got to do something. This was not a fair process. Not to mention, Tamor got the harshest sentence out of all his juvenile co-defendants, and was the youngest, besides the girl whose name was rightly withheld by the media. This open letter to the public, written by his friend, gives a more accurate picture of who Tamor is. Don't believe everything you read in the media, especially when it's about a black child in the Texas justice system."
But I ain't beat that case, bitch, I did the race. I'm gon' shoot, bitch.
That's all from us. What do you think about Tay-K's case? Share your thoughts in the comments, leave a like and subscribe to the channel. See y'all later.